All
We're
right.
live.
We are live. And today, my guest for Travel Tip Tuesday is Jeremy and Jenna from Quench Your Adventure. And I'm so excited to have them on and talk about van life and just all of the amazing experiences. I can't speak apparently. All the amazing experiences that they have truly gone on just in the past few years that I've been following them quite heavily. And it's just really exciting to see you guys. So thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, we're stoked to be here. Yeah. Thanks for following as well.
Of course. No, I'm happy to. And, I'm glad that we were able to connect and get you guys on to talk about this, especially with all the changes that are going on with coronavirus right now. A lot of people are moving to domestic travel. And that's really the big thing right now because people are, they've been stuck in their homes. They want to leave. They can't really leave the country. So van life, RV life, all of the camping, just getting out of the house and driving to wherever isn't where they are in their house is really becoming a huge thing. So I'm excited to talk about this topic. But before we get into the nitty-gritty details, I want you to tell everyone who might be watching and don't know who you are, tell them about yourselves, how you guys met, why you started traveling. Just introduce yourselves.
Yeah. Cool. Ladies first.
That's Jeremy and I'm Jenna. We met at UCF in Orlando, Florida. We met at church on campus.
She approached me in church.
I went up to this guy. I thought he was cute. The pastor said, meet and greet the people around you. So it was either this old guy to my left or Jeremy to my right. So I walked up to Jeremy and I was like, hey, I'm Jenna. And I thought he looked familiar. So we talked about something in common. And then couple weeks later, he came and sat next to me at church and we exchanged phone numbers and
eventually went on an 11-hour date, which was not planned to be that long.
Our first date was 11 hours because we liked each other so much.
It was like 6 dates in one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's
when we were 19 and I was a sophomore, he was a freshman. So yeah, we've been together for 6 years and travel is a huge passion of ours.
When she graduated in 2016, that's when we took our first big trip together. And I totally planned everything, pretty much said, I'm just going to pick a location and we're going to go and I'm going to figure out the details. Don't worry about it. And I told her we're going to Utah.
I was like, Utah? What's
That's
that?
the first one? Wow.
Yeah, I didn't care. I had no idea about Utah. I had no idea about all the national parks and all of the Red Rock. I didn't care. And when we got there, I was like, oh, wow, never mind. This place is cool.
We flew into St. George, rented a car, and 8 nights. We drove all around and explored all the parks and had a blast. So that was our first big adventure
that was
together.
Our first trip.
And then
so how long did you guys been together at that point?
At that point, 2 years maybe?
It was in 2016, so 2 years. Yeah, I had just graduated. So a couple years into the relationship.
And then married a year later in 2017 after I graduated, and then moved here to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where we've been for 3 years. So that's the quick story. And then I guess Quench Your Adventure came about maybe a little over a year ago now. We had just loved sharing our adventures on social media and wanted to kind of put a name to it. So eventually I came up with that. And
he came up with those 3 words, and together they make sense for us. We're always out there trying to explore and see the world, really.
Well, it's like quenching your thirst. You can only quench your thirst for so long before it comes back. So
yeah, that's what happens with adventure. We can't stop.
No, that's true for any traveler, and any traveler that is listening right now, I know agrees with that term. Because I know that once I started traveling, I was like, okay, when's the next one? That's what I'm looking forward to all the time. It's when's my next vacation? When am I going? When am I going somewhere new? I think that's the hardest thing is I'm okay, I want to go somewhere new, but I love these places that I already went. It's
Amen.
How do I choose?
We say that all the time.
I've also heard someone say you're not supposed to leave a trip without at least talking about what your next trip's going to be. So I also like to try to live in the moment, and that maybe takes from that a little bit, but I'm always thinking ahead.
That's true. I mean, well, when you experience new things, you're like, oh, okay, well, I wonder what it's like here too. Like, I mean, it's hard. It's
and you want to go with different people, and you want to eat new different foods there. Like it's never ending. You're like, oh my gosh, there's so many towns and cities within just my state.
Yeah.
And then you open up your country, and then you go to all these other countries. You're like, how am I going to go to all these places?
Yeah.
exactly.
Utah
You'll
is actually
never see everywhere. So I guess, does your adventure ever really truly get quenched?
no, not fully, never.
Probably not.
Never.
That's funny. So that's really exciting that you guys started Quench Your Adventure. And like, tell us a little bit about what you do with Quench Your Adventure. So what is your whole vision and goal for it? I know you guys have a blog, right? So
yeah, so it started off as a blog where we would share our itineraries and guides, tips and tricks that helped us travel to these certain places, and like kind of give everybody like a how-to. And that was really cool. And then it started transitioning into vlogging because we became very comfortable in front of the camera, and it's kind of easier to portray locations and experiences through video than through text.
Yeah.
So we're kind of going from blogging to our YouTube channel, and then we've always been pretty consistent on our Instagram with a mixture of both video and image with text.
Yeah, and I guess the main motivation is to just inspire people to go out and have fun, you know, a big or small adventure, whatever it is, to go see somewhere you haven't seen or look at it from a new angle, you know, go do something you haven't done. We have a bucket list on our blog that we're constantly looking to scratch things off of. So it's just really trying to squeeze every little bit out of life and encourage other people to do that.
Yeah, I've seen that bucket list. It's pretty cool. I was like, I've got to start a bucket list and everything. Yeah. Well, I mean, I do have a bucket list. I guess it's just in my head. And that's one of the things that I have. Like, I did a giveaway, probably a month or two ago, and it was of a travel journal, because I feel like unless you put it down on paper, it never really feels real, or like you can't envision it. So once you put it down on paper, you're like, okay, this has to happen. Like,
Totally.
Yeah, it holds you accountable. It gives you something to look forward to or like plan. So
absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's really cool. I know that, video is such a huge thing now. Look at us on whatever platform we're on now.
Yeah.
You know, doing this. My whole vision is to inspire people as well. So it's so cool to connect with people that have that same vision, except my goal is to get people outside. I love America, and I think that there's so much to see it, and I want to see all the 50 states too, but there's so much to see even out beyond our borders too.
Totally.
So it's insane just how much there is. So together we will accomplish.
One day the country will be well again, and other borders will open, and hopefully people will get back out to exploring. So
I mean, we were supposed to go on a big trip, probably our, I guess, biggest international trip. We were going to fly to Venice, Italy, and go on a week-long cruise with my mom and stepdad. That unfortunately, you know, hopefully we'll get to do that in the future, but that all got canceled. So we'll see, but we definitely want to do a lot more international travel.
Yeah, no, it is insane too, because I wanted to go to Budapest. I had a trip, my first solo international trip to Budapest in April. And hello, Corona.
Right.
But it's all good. Everything happens for a reason. That's what I feel. And I would not be talking to you guys today right now. And I wouldn't have my YouTube channel. I wouldn't have all of this going on if coronavirus didn't happen. So I'm very thankful. Budapest will always be there. I will be able to go again. So, you know, talking about how that's changed, how our whole lives have changed due to COVID. You guys started van life. All right. Now, did coronavirus get you guys? Is that what piqued your interest in this? Was this already a plan that you guys had? What got you into van life?
I mean, I was always intrigued by, I just love to go on road trips first, but definitely always intrigued by vans and people converting their vans and, you know, taking longer adventures in them. But really, it was Jenna that kind of suggested it one night. We were laying in bed about to fall asleep, and she's like, why don't we go on a really long road trip in the van? I was like, that's a great idea. Let's do it.
Yeah, so we were up all night. Like, our brains were like going like crazy. Like, how could we make this van something that we could sleep in, so we're not spending money in hotels? We're not involving in our other people's lives at that point, because COVID, we didn't want to be like like exposing ourselves to other people. So to be in the van only.
Yeah, and we've done a lot of camping on trips. Like sometimes we'll actually pack camping gear to go fly somewhere, both for the fun of camping, but also to save money. But a lot of campgrounds and stuff are closed too. So we just figured, especially if we have this van that could be our tent, then let's make it happen. So we had to figure out how to make it, you know, I'll say livable for at least a few weeks at a time. And we did that, which was, you know, really cool. But I am not handy really at all. I mean, I built some awesome Lego masterpieces as a kid, but I don't, you know, I've not done very much as far as like building structures with wood and nails.
Well.
You did pretty well. I saw the video.
Yeah, I just figured, what is the like simplest, most minimal thing we can do to get us on the road?
It was so basic.
Comfortably,
a nice platform with storage underneath. It's really all you needed. When we went in the van the first night ever, for me, ever sleeping in a car, we used an air mattress. We just put down all the seats, and then we put a blow-up queen air mattress into the van, and we were like, okay, this is cool, this works, but we can't put anything anywhere because all the stuff we brought would have to be where the van, you know, the mattress was. So then that's when Jeremy built the platform.
It's funny the evolution of our van build though, because I built the platform, but we didn't have a mattress on it yet. We put the air mattress on it, and with the platform and a 12-inch air mattress, you're basically like breathing on the ceiling.
No, it was really bad. I felt very like trapped and stuck. And I was like, Jeremy, I can't do van life. I'm never doing it again. He's like, what if we get something that's shorter height-wise?
Well, and 2 people on an air mattress, basically it turns into a blob. So just every time you move, especially when you're already a few inches from the ceiling.
You're hitting the head when the person moves. You're hitting your head on the ceiling. You're like, I hate this.
So we were actually in the middle of a trip and we realized this doesn't work. So we ditched the air mattress. And so that we didn't have to go home, we actually went to Walmart and bought just a mattress topper and a moving blanket and put that on to sleep on for a couple nights, which wasn't that comfortable, but it got the job done. But eventually we upgraded to our memory foam mattress that is only 5 inches tall. So it still gives you a few feet of height.
Jeremy liked that bed in our van, the one that's in our van right now, better than the one upstairs in our bedroom that we spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on at Mattress Firm.
It is crazy. This thing, the memory foam mattress is like only $160, and I would totally buy it for any room in my house. It's very comfortable.
Well, there you go. Save money. And there's your mattress ad, I guess.
Totally.
Right?
That's funny. No, it's like, I'm not feeling like sleeping on the bed tonight. I'm going to go sleep in the van.
Yeah, it's like when someone tells their husband to go sleep on the couch if they're in a fight.
Except it's not punishment.
Gladly.
He's like, okay, thanks. He's like trying to get you mad, so you tell him to go sleep in the van.
Oh, you're good at that.
So that's that began a lot of adventures, and we're able to be completely socially distant, just driving around in the van. And the great thing about us is 95% of our entertainment is outside.
Yeah.
So you can still be outside. Outside is still open.
Yes, it is. No, same here. Like, I love camping. I've gone on camping trips since COVID and such like that. So it's funny you mentioned the air mattress, because I had my friend go camping with us, or with me, in Chatuckney Springs, and I did a video on it. And she got a blow-up mattress, and I got the sleeping mat, and her mattress was like, it was just bad. Like, and I was like, I don't think we recommend the air mattress, like just in camping in general, let alone van life. No. So that's really cool that you guys went through that. So, speaking about, van life and all of the kind of different peaks and changes you had to change throughout the way, what do you think was your biggest like setback or biggest thing you had to overcome with it?
I know yours. I think.
What's mine?
Not having a bathroom.
Well, yeah. Hello. The outdoors is a bathroom for guys, but for women, it's not that easy. So I was very fortunate. I will talk about the toilet forever, but I bought like a $12 toddler potty from Walmart that worked wonderfully.
So
and
funny.
I was really happy to use that. I didn't mind it. Not having a sink and somewhere to change, because once you stand there's no standing in our van. It's very short in height. It's really just great for driving, sleeping, eating, you know, watching a TV show or something on Netflix, but you don't stand in it. So that was really hard for me. And I bet you I know yours.
What's that?
Well, with van life, you have to be smart and safe where you sleep.
Yeah.
You can't just pick and choose wherever you want. That's a huge tip that people forget about. Oh, where are we going to sleep tonight that we don't have to spend money? So Jeremy, unfortunately, was stuck being in charge of like, we are going here, but we can sleep here. And so it'd be things like national forests or
it's not bad.
freecampsites.net. Certain places allow you free parking.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest obstacle to overcome, is just figuring out where you're allowed to go,
right,
and where is safe. But you'd be surprised though. I mean, there's so many places, you know, you can go and park for the night, and you know, along a parkway where people aren't going to bother you, and it's awesome. You wake up and you're already in the place you want to be.
Yeah, definitely. Is that national forest or not? Like, what are some tips that you have for that?
So parkways. So
parkways, like
Blue
if
Ridge
the road
parkways.
is called parkway.
No,
like within certain mountain ranges, there's like the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
or like pull-offs, like
in some places there's definitely gray area of whether or not, you know, I don't know. I know with national forest you can go wherever, whenever, and we've done mostly that. In a national park, I think maybe there's slightly stricter regulations. And I don't think we've actually slept in a national park before, but we have slept on a pull-off along the Blue Ridge Parkway before.
Like the overlooks.
I think that's totally okay. And then the not glamorous, we've slept at a rest stop before. You know,
people do that all the time anyways in their car. People do that I do that when I'm driving to, you know, up to Tennessee or South Carolina.
Yeah. Actually,
if I drive through the night, and if I'm tired, I stop at a rest stop and I take a nap. That's what I do.
And I mean, that's what people do. We saw a lot of other people doing that. One cool little micro story though, we were in Tennessee and we were just completely driving like aimlessly, like let's just see what looks cool. And we ended up stopping in at this little bed and breakfast, and turns out they had some availability, and I didn't want to pay to stay in one of these cabins because they were like very nice and like way too expensive. But it's called the Nolichucky Bed and Breakfast Cabins. They were really beautiful though. And I asked the lady that works there, she owns the place, I said, hey, like, would it be okay if we parked just at this cabin for the night? And she said, sure. So we actually like hung out on the back porch of this cabin, and it overlooked this beautiful little river and had some mountains in the distance.
Yeah, with
really
like
cool.
A fire pit and like a place to hang your hammock. It was really nice.
So it is funny, the spectrum of, you know, you have this beautiful spot along these bluffs in this river, and then you have like rest areas, and we've done everywhere in between.
We've stayed at a church with a cemetery. That was a little like, and then
very quiet.
You'll be surprised. There are so many free campgrounds.
And there's
that you don't have to pay for. It's first come, first serve. So if there's a site, we're like, oh, let's go. That's perfect.
And there are some resources. So if anyone was curious, go to freecampsites.net. It's a map. You put in an area, and it'll show you some places that you can camp for free. There's way more in the West than there is in the East. There's just more public lands and stuff out there. But there's also sites like Campendium, which I think has both paid and free campsites.
And Harvest Hosts.
Yeah, Harvest Hosts is actually, you can pay annually. It's less than $100, and you can park at places like breweries, wineries, libraries. Bed and breakfasts.
Yeah, all these places that say, hey, listen, if you don't want to pay for our accommodations, you can use our parking lot, you can use our patio, whatever, and park here safely for the night and stuff. And then basically the word is boondocking.
Yeah,
have you ever heard of that?
Dry camping.
Yeah, boondocking is basically what we're talking about. You don't know where you're staying that night, and you're going to find a place that's safe and legal.
Yeah.
Legal.
But I mean, now in the van.
That's the biggest thing here, yeah.
Yeah, we've probably spent maybe 30 nights. We've not actually counted, something like that.
Over 30 if we just did 20, and we did 3 other times. So probably 45 nights of paying nothing, $0.
Oh, and one more tip on that. Couchsurfing. Have you heard of couchsurfing?
I have heard of that's what I was going to mention. I've heard of couchsurfing, but it is really hard to get started with couchsurfing because you have to, like, usually they want you to host someone before you actually like go and like, actually stay somewhere. So sometimes because I tried it in Europe and it didn't work out because I hadn't done it in the US. Like I hadn't let someone do it for me.
Yeah.
But how was did that work out for you? Did you guys get people or?
Yeah, so I hosted a friend before that told me about Couchsurfing, and then I had a few people let me stay with them out near Las Vegas. And then on this, actually the most recent trip we used Couchsurfing too, but the trip before that in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, I found a guy and said, hey, we just are looking for somewhere safe to park for the night. Also, maybe if we could get a shower or something, and ended up meeting this extremely cool guy. Couldn't have been nicer. We shared multiple meals together, drank tea in his house, and it was really a cool experience. We actually didn't stay in his place at all. We ended up just parking right outside of it. And it was cool. It was just a cool way to use that community and that platform. Not use, but, enjoy and give back to.
Utilize.
There you go.
Yeah. Just be careful because COVID is still happening. So going in and out of other people's homes, you have to use your discretion and be safe about that. So that's not, something we recommend right now, but it's a great feature to use. And you can use it in other ways. You don't have to stay there. Like Jeremy said, you could just meet with people with your masks.
Yeah.
If you want to enjoy like a hike together.
Totally.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, micro story on my end, I actually, when I was in Scotland and Ireland, me and my best friend who I traveled with, we rented a car in both countries, and we drove the perimeters of the country. And we kind of had a hiccup and issues that ended up costing us some money. So we were really trying to save in the beginning, and ended up sleeping in the car more often than we literally went to Walmart and got pillows and blankets, and we slept in the car. But it was, let me tell you, that's the closest thing to van life I've experienced.
Yeah.
It was so incredible to park somewhere beautifully. You could literally park there at night and you're like, yeah, this is gonna look good in the morning. And then you wake up to that and you're like, wow.
Yeah, I love that. You just pop your head out and you're like, whoa.
We do that way too much. We show up to places in the dark, but it's cool for that exact reason that you're like, I know this place is going to be beautiful in the morning, and you wake up to it.
And just some of the experiences and places that we've hit and this is where we're going to stay for the night or whatever it might be. Like in Ireland, we ended up, there was this big parking lot underneath a mountain. The only reason we stopped in the parking lot was because we wanted to hike up the mountain and literally the sunset was happening. It was on the other side. And we're like, okay, we've got to hike up this mountain in 20 minutes to see the sunset. So we did that really quick. We had to jump over a fence, but whatever. So we did that. And then we came back down and we're like, okay, well, let's just stay here for the night. And this ended up being one of the top places in the world to see the stars at night on a cloudless, moonless night, which it was a cloudless, moonless night. Beautiful. I saw so many stars. I saw probably at least 30 shooting stars that night. Insane. By chance. Wasn't even expecting to sleep there. And it was just I can't even imagine how many of those experiences are all around the US just doing that.
That is so cool. Was that in Scotland or Ireland?
That was in Ireland. So that was on the Isle of Skye. It's like a loop around, drive around. Yeah, it was so I wish that I had my YouTube channel back then because oh God, the videos I could have taken.
I know.
Insane.
It's funny how Jeremy and I seem to have had transitioned from these super strict day by day, hour by hour planners, guides, trips. Everything was perfectly planned to a T. The gas station, the bakery. I mean, you name it, it was ready for us to hit along the journey. Now we get in the van and we're like, we'll be back in 19 days. And we just go.
See you guys.
Freedom.
And that's kind of the cool thing because you find out way more and learn about other things that people aren't talking about yet. So it's it's a good mix to have. Have a destination, but follow a different journey.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is one of the number one tips I give to people, especially when they go to Europe, because here in the US, especially just our mindsets here in the US, when we have vacation time, we want to utilize every minute of it because we don't get much of it, right? You're lucky if you have a job that gives you 2 weeks off. Like,
Mhm.
you know, if you have that job, great. If you're actually able to use your time off, like even better, you know?
Yeah.
So we have such a workaholic mentality here. So, you know, when we travel, a lot of times we're like going somewhere and we're like, okay, yeah, I need to go do this, this, this. And, you know, this is what I'm going to do at noon. This is what I'm going to do at 1 p.m. And like, you're overbooking yourselves. And then you end up more stressed on your vacation because
Mhm.
you're like, oh, we've got to leave. We've got to get to the next destination. And
No,
it's like,
it's true. It is
oh,
true.
stop. Like I literally
Yep.
made a video about taking a vacation from your vacation, because it's like you really truly have to do that. And like if you can just, again with the travel journal, if you can just get a travel journal, pick a place, let's say it's Ireland, look up things that are interesting to you in that area. You can write them
Mhm.
down, but then just go. See
For
how you
sure.
feel. What if you don't want to go to a museum on the first day that you're there? What if you're there and you're like, I'm exhausted, I want to have a beer? Like, then
Mhm.
go have a beer. You know, it's your
Yep.
vacation. You know,
Yep.
you can
I
go to
love
the
it.
museum, will be there the next day.
Yeah, it's a great tip. It really is. The one thing I would say, do have planned, if you're flying into a location, have a night booked in advance in case, you know, things
Right.
get crazy.
That has
No,
happened too.
that's the one thing. That's the one thing that we did pretty much have. Well, we always had like a day or two planned ahead of time for where we were going to sleep in
Yeah.
regards to those places.
Everything else you can figure out.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
be somewhere safe.
Yeah, definitely have a place to sleep. You know, that is key, especially if you're going to like another country and such. And it's like okay to have like a base area, but at the same time, I feel like especially when you go over to Europe, but probably the same thing in the US, like don't just go to the major cities. Like what
Mhm.
is Florida known for? Miami, like that's it. Like okay, there is
Yeah.
so much more to Florida than Miami.
Absolutely.
I mean, you guys are from Florida, so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
insane.
It's a
Yeah.
great point. It makes me think back to the Utah trip because I've been to Utah, I think 5 separate times now, which is ridiculous.
It's his favorite
And
state.
it is. And it's like, it's back to the point of like, I'd love to go somewhere else and we will, but at the same time, we could go take the identical like route that we did years
And
ago,
see.
but just do slightly different things. For example, you know, we did Angel's Landing in Zion. Of course, you have to do that hike if you like hiking and you're going to go there. But there's also a long list of other beautiful hikes that see a fraction of the traffic. So it's just, you could go do the same trip, but just make tiny little incremental changes and have a completely different, but just as amazing trip.
Absolutely. And it's hard. It's like making those decisions are the hardest part about it. Like, what are you going to go and do and stuff? But I really do think it's important to have that like mentality of figuring out what you're feeling in that day and like taking it day by day type of thing. So that's awesome. I'm glad that it is interesting that though that you know, went from that tedious like schedule and now you're like, and I mean, same thing with your whole house thing too. So we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So what's the most exciting thing that you guys have found with van life? Like what's your top thing that like you really just truly love about it? And by the way, before you answer that, for those of you who are watching, if you guys have a question, please feel free to ask. We are here to answer your questions. So go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, first thing that comes to my mind immediately is freedom. It's, you know, exactly what we're just talking about. We go wherever, whenever, and just explore. I mean, that's like my definition of exploring. You're just kind of roaming, you know, just wandering. It's just wanderlust. I love that. I love that about it. Yeah, I feel like that's like simple, but that is like, I feel that like that's such a true answer for me.
Yeah, I agree. That's good. I think something that we've gotten better at when we've started van life, and something that we usually never did, is when we would travel, we would kind of just stay to ourselves and talk to each other and interact with just ourselves. And as we've, you know, explored more, we're talking to people, we're asking them questions, we're learning about their lives. We have met so many people with such inspiring stories that we never would have met or known, and now we still talk about to this day. A couple weeks ago was this guy, a couple months ago was this person. And it's just cool because you just, in a world that feels so lonely or scared or crazy at times, you can connect with someone. And I think connections and meeting new people is like a key to like, you know, staying with it and like enjoying new people's company.
Totally. And sometimes it's harder to do that when we're together because we're not, you know, we're together. So we're not necessarily
we don't need to talk to anybody because we can talk to each other.
Yeah, but we've definitely we've gotten more open as we've traveled more, and that's really fun. It's what led us to, you know, sleep at the top of these bluffs in Tennessee and at this bed and breakfast, you know, so
engaging with others and hearing their stories. It's a really powerful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I absolutely full-heartedly agree with that. I've met some incredible people on my travels as well, and that I'm still friends with to this day. They're in other countries, and it's like you make these relationships with people, and you've only known them for like a day, and it's like insane how connected you feel to them, and how, you know, how powerful that is just to have that commonality with someone, and just learning about other people and just what's out there, because every place that you go to that's new is expanding your vision of the world and like what's out there.
Yeah. So, and quick micro story. So Couchsurfing, I just reached out to a guy on one of our recent trips, and sure enough, he looks at my profile. He says, "Dude, we've stayed at the same person's house in Nevada. We both stayed with the same lady in a town called Mesquite, Nevada." The chances of that is completely crazy. And I just thought it was the coolest thing. So we ended up meeting the guy. He couldn't have been cooler and nicer.
He let me shower after I hadn't washed my hair in like 6 days.
Yeah. So cool. And he actually, the trip he was on when he stayed with that same lady, he walked the American Discovery Trail, which I'd never even heard of. He walked across the country. It took him 8 months to do.
He walked and would sleep wherever, whenever, with whoever.
He slept in a church.
I mean, I'm not opposed.
He walked from one side of the country to the other. I don't understand.
So crazy. So anyway, it's people like that. It's those kind of stories that I love.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, one time someone came into, I guess another micro story. Someone had come into, I had met someone in a Papa John's here locally, and they claimed that they were biking around the perimeter of the US.
Wow.
I was like, wow. And like you could tell, like his feet were torn up, but like he had like all of his gear on his bike and everything, and he was like, "Yep, I'm going down to Key West, and I'm come right back up the."
Jeez.
Yeah, I was like, wow,
that's an adventure.
Yeah, it is. And I've always wanted to do the Appalachian Trail. So I probably said that completely wrong, but you know.
Well, yeah, I feel like people up here say Appalachian, so I've started to say that, but I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Whatever that whatever. You know?
the AT. You could say.
The app. Yeah, go on the app.
We've walked little chunks of it.
Yeah, Jeremy's done a chunk of it, a couple miles.
Yeah. Well, I actually did a long trip in high school. I've walked the whole trip we walked 80 miles, but that we were actually on the AT was maybe 40 or 50. So.
Wow, that's a good chunk.
I've done 9 miles of it.
And actually,
I don't know how many miles I've done.
Yeah, you actually have walked a good chunk. On our trip though, we did make it to Maine, and we made it to Mount Katahdin, which is the northernmost point of it. So we didn't actually go like up to the mountain. We had got a flat tire, but we were at the base of Mount Katahdin.
3 flat tires, by the way, on the last.
3? Wow, those roads.
Well, we end up on a lot of dirt roads. And
the tires are just stock tires.
We're not really geared up for that.
Yeah. Whoopsie.
So.
Talking about that trip though, they can't see it behind your little Quench Your Adventure though, but Jeremy kind of got a little uncle, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here,
I'm in a sling. I actually am using a pillow under my arm too for a little
He broke his collarbone while mountain biking in New Hampshire.
Yep, my clavicle. It's broken.
And so we had to kind of cut the trip short, and I had to drive the whole time.
Well, so we only really cut the trip short, though, because we were doing research on RVs, which we can still talk more about later. Because really, we still stayed for a few days and we were hanging out. We had met some friends there to ride bikes. Unfortunately, I got hurt on the very first day. But the cool thing is I made it 25 years without breaking a bone, which is pretty amazing for some of the stuff I like to do.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So it's cool. And collarbones heal pretty fast. So Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll make it an even more memorable trip.
For sure.
Well, I think the biggest memorable part of this van life trip that we just got back from was that we as a couple had decided and agreed on some
Here's the
very
big
exciting
news.
news. On some very exciting news.
Drum roll.
We literally made like a pinky promise, like one of the kiss ones. And we
They're too cute.
promised each other that we were going to come home and buy an RV.
So we did.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So we were talking earlier about going from that schedule down to, you know, a freedom life, and now you've gone from a house to
Yep.
Yeah, like we're sitting in 2 camping chairs right now because we've sold all our furniture and there's nothing left in this house. There's nothing.
Yeah,
we sold the microwave and I haven't even made all the food and that's popcorn. I can't even make my popcorn. I sold it 2 weeks too.
We don't have a table anymore either.
Yeah, we've been sitting on the ground having
eating in your lap. No plates, just shoving.
Yeah, but hopefully we'll be going to pick it up this week.
Yeah, we'll see. We've been steadily downsizing for the last couple of years. When we moved here, we got excited, moved into this big house. And then we were like, this is crazy. Like if you had a heat map of, you know, the time we spend in this house, it's like kitchen, bedroom, bathroom. That's it. Like we don't need much more. So we downsized into the place we're currently in, which is still a little over 1,000 square feet and way bigger than we need.
Yeah.
We're like, let's do something crazy. Let's go to 126 square feet.
Okay, that's dramatic. I mean, to go from 1,025 to 125, 126.
Yeah, but when you're on wheels, it makes it worthwhile. We hope.
Destination.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
So RV life is the next step. So it's like kind of like, you know, you get into a van and then all of a sudden, I guess you should expect you're going to end up in an RV. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, we had that was not going to be a plan at all. No.
Yeah.
We had
no, it's
plans.
like one of the progressions.
It's spiral.
Sure.
So basically, if I can live in a van, then of course I can live in an RV. It's got a sink, a toilet, a shower, a kitchen, a bed, a table.
Huge upgrade. You downsize, you downgrade, and then you upgrade.
Oh yeah, kind
we
of.
downsized too small.
We upsize from the
now
van.
we're upsizing. And still, to most RV lifers, though, a small Class C is small.
Yeah, what we got is only 24 feet. Most people, when you get an RV, you get a Class A, which are those huge, like, tour bus looking ones, which we're like, no, we need to get on, like, mountain roads. We need to go down creek beds. Like, we need to be in something that can, like, go with us.
All right, we're not going to drive any creek beds, but, some dirt roads,
I meant, like, by the creek.
More pop, be careful with the pop tires.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Don't want any of that. But,
I think that would be that was honestly my biggest thing is so I had told you guys that I never expected to be interested in van life. Like I've always thought, oh yeah, that's a cool idea, but I personally would never do it. I'm like, Like even one of my really close friends, she's like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to go and do van life. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like you do that. Like I'm totally supportive, but I never thought that I would even consider it. And like when I think truly when I saw your guys' video and I saw that you guys did it in a small van,
yes,
that's really what piqued my interest, because I was like, I don't like big cars. I have a Hyundai Accent, like super small little cute car. Love it. Get everywhere, get in everywhere. So I don't know if I could do RV life. I mean, I could like on a trip or something like that, but I don't know if I could live with it. But I think van life, that you guys did it in a small Ford Transit, right?
It's a Ford Transit Connect. The Ford Transits
are those big white vans.
Yeah, I mean, there's different sizes. We totally went down the rabbit hole of trying to learn every little thing about vans, at least about the different styles and stuff, because we were actually considering buying like a big van to potentially
that was going to be our home instead of an RV, but we realized we need to still work remotely in it, and I don't think you can sit up in a lot
I mean, you could, but it's just if you're going to live full time in it.
I can't teach online with my head crunched like this.
Well, not in that van, but
that's the answer.
But in the big vans, I mean, they're livable, but it's still, if you're full time in it and there's two of us and we're both going to be sitting and working and stuff, I think the RV definitely makes sense. But yeah, it is cool that, it's cool that we did as much as we did in the small van to show people, hey, you don't need much to go on a big adventure. You just need somewhere
to put your pillow in your head at night and you can still go across wherever.
Yeah.
Well, And that's what I think a lot of people don't fully understand when they think of traveling, because I feel like a lot of people feel like they have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to go on a trip, and that's just not the case. I mean, even when I went to Europe, like flights to Europe aren't even that bad, but like staying in hostels, I mean, it's all it is a place to sleep, because at the end of the day, you're not spending all your time there. Like you're literally going out and seeing all these places, you're going on hikes, you're going and checking out wherever you are. Like that's where the activity is when you guys are doing that. But you guys are going to be like on sort of like a full-time vacation and see these new places.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll feel like that. Yeah.
I don't know what.
But wait, hold on. I will say, staying at a 5-star resort is kind of nice sometimes.
I don't know if you've ever stayed at a 5-star.
Yeah, in Mexico, that was definitely a.
Remember
nice
the
resort.
vacation from your vacation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll still be working, but but I do like it'll be interesting to just see what like the routine of life feels like, because I like we will slow down a lot. I don't plan on driving, 2-3 hours a day like we do when we're on a road trip now.
We'll probably stay a week at a time wherever we choose.
I mean, we almost never stay in the same place for more than one night.
As long as we have Wi-Fi. I mean, as long as we have some type of service to get whatever work we have done that day, then that will consider like what we're free to do.
So are you getting like a hotspot or something like that, like connected in the
We each have personal hotspots. We actually have gone 6 to 8 months right now with no Wi-Fi.
Just hotspots on our phones.
We pay $5 extra each a month to use our hotspot and only use that. And we saved $85-$95 a month. So we've already learned how to use our computers using our phone's hotspot.
And it's not too blotchy. It's pretty good. When you're traveling.
It's okay. Like it depends what you're doing. Like when I'm trying to upload, YouTube videos and stuff like that, it's slow. But for your average user, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, totally. I would totally recommend it to those who are like, I work all day and I only need a few hours here and there through the week to use the internet
and
at
we
home.
do watch, a decent amount of Netflix that we're streaming that is decent.
Oh, no, I think
it's not perfect, but it's good.
Yeah, and then we might have to be those people that sit in a McDonald's or Starbucks parking lot and mooch off their Wi-Fi. We'll buy something, don't worry. But there's also
I mean, $5 for a coffee, that's equivalent to how much you pay a month for your hotspot. So for a few hours, I think it's a fair trade.
There's satellites and like mobile boosters as well.
Yeah, we need to learn about that.
Yeah,
that's
a huge
that's what I was thinking of.
If we're in the middle of like Red Rock Canyon in Utah for a week and I can't access my students, that's not okay.
So that's where the the more normal routine of life, where we might spend a few days more closer to town, and then on the weekend is when we go off the grid. So it'll be
you'll have to find out.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll be
we don't know. Yeah, we don't know.
You're like surprise for all of us.
Yes, exactly.
So, because I plan on having you guys on again when after the whole RV life, I'm making you guys promise now.
Yep, we're in.
So let's, just so that we can reflect on this moment, I guess, like, what do you think is going to be your biggest hurdle with RV life and going into that? Like, what do you guys what are you guys expecting? Like, what do you expect it to be like? And then you can, like, look back on this and be like, this is what you guys expected, and that is what happened, or maybe didn't happen.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Before we answer this, I do want to preface, we try very, very hard to be super real and authentic on our social media accounts so that we're not those people that people see and go, oh my gosh, it's so perfect. I want to do van and RV life. I want to live on the road. Look how easy and fun loving their life is. There's no fighting. There's like, we try so hard to be like, look, this sucks right now. This has happened to us. This is sad. Life happens. Like, we want to be authentic so people know, okay, here's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like,
absolutely,
we can make it work. So I think what we're anticipating is a normal routine lifestyle of getting our work part done. But then the exploring side of me is like, I want to go everywhere.
I'm pumped. Yeah, I'm really excited. I guess the right now, something I'm thinking about is we want to hit the road like as soon as possible. And we have a couple weeks to still wrap up some things. But a big thought is I would love to have solar power, and that's kind of expensive, and it also takes some time to like figure out what you want to buy, put an
How
order in.
cool.
But if we were like completely powered by the sun, didn't have to run a generator, didn't have to, you know, go buy like propane all the time. Yeah, that would be really cool. So that's like I'm indecisive right now of whether I want to like take the time and spend the money to do that when I'm also eager to hit the road.
Just wanna go.
But I guess that leads into my, like, I'm anticipating some hurdles with learning about how we're gonna actually function in the capabilities of an RV. You know, I know now what a black water tank is and a gray water tank, and I know that we have propane, and I know that also the gas, I think, helps power the refrigerator. So
you can't take really long showers. You can only flush a couple times. You can't use the microwave and a hairdryer at the same time. Like, we're learning all these things that I would, like, you can't blow the fuse, if that's even a word. I don't even know. So, you can't dump this. You can't dump this water here, but you can dump this water there. I'm like, oh shoot, we've only lived in a house where it's like flush, light, turn on sink.
We're fairly naive, but willing to learn. So I'm sure
we don't know anything about that.
There will be some mishaps, but I don't know if we belong in the van life Facebook group anymore, but we're now in an RV life Facebook group. So we have someone to turn to ask questions.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, there's plenty of groups out there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
No, and I mean, I'm sure that there are so many people that I'm sure people in the van life probably, maybe people have both. Do you think? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm sure that other people have made the same transition as you.
Probably.
Yeah, so that might be a question to ask them. But so did you guys ever expect that, like 3, 4, 6 years ago, that you would be doing van life or RV life?
No, not at all. Not at all. I knew we'd be traveling, and I knew that passion was always going to be in us, but I had no idea I would sleep in a van.
I mean,
I've never even slept on a couch.
I've slept in my car a time or two. So, you know, I figured I'd be doing more of that. But buying and moving into an RV full time, definitely not.
Yeah, we like put a down payment on an RV and then just got a loan in a matter of 2 weeks. On August 9th is when we made an offer and negotiated a price. So, you know, we made a decision 3 weeks ago to let's try it. 2 weeks ago, let's buy it. And a week ago, let's go pick it. Like, now we're picking it up.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So next time when we meet with you, we're going to be in the RV.
Or sitting outside of it under our awning.
Yeah.
Our manual awning that we crank up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we've got a question.
Oh, sweet.
So they say great tips. Are you guys worried about living in such a small space?
It's a good question. Thank you, Sharon. Nice. I'm pretending like I don't know who that is. That's my mom.
Yeah, Sharon W.
I wonder who that. I mean, I didn't know. You had me fooled, but
Sharon W.
Yes, funny. I'm scared to live with your son in 126 feet, Mom. Look at him. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be funny waking up in the morning. I wake up probably like 30 minutes, an hour later than Jeremy. He gets up like at 6 in the morning. And he'll come downstairs and start his morning routine. In the RV, there are no doors. There are no curtains. There is no privacy. It is, you wake up, and there's the kitchen, dining room, living room, bathroom, seating area. So that will be
a panoramic view, everything.
But it's perfect for like the instant gratification person because everything is just right there in front of you. You know, you don't have to travel very far at all to get to all those things. But
I guess you won't be getting your steps in.
Yeah. No, but here's the thing. When you're in a small space, which we've learned this with the van, you're just not in that space as much because you can be outside, and the freedom of being on wheels, we hope to be where the weather is good. And, you know, that's not going to be the case all the time, but hopefully you just go where it's nice. And, you know, we will only be inside when we're working and eating. The rest of the time, I'd rather be outside if it's nice, you know?
Question that brings up a good point. What about weather? Have you guys driven through snow before? Like, what are you guys anticipating with snow and rain? And
yeah,
I mean,
I'm scared about
Florida, we've been through hurricanes, but like, you know, what do you guys do in a situation? Jenna's like, I didn't think about that.
Well, I did the other day. I said, Jeremy, it's kind of cool that our house is on wheels, that if there is a bad storm or, something is coming, then we can leave and go somewhere else. But for those random times where it's like, oh, random tornado, random hurricane, random, like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Well,
Kansas?
yes, we've driven in some snow before, but I don't anticipate doing that in the RV. Could, but I just figure, I'd rather not be in a place that's going to drop below freezing temperatures, because I know then you have to learn a lot more about how to winterize the vehicle and stuff,
Yeah,
which
there's
I
a
definitely,
whole category of
I
that.
want to learn that for sure, but I plan to, I think we'll spend the cold months in Florida or in, Southern California or in Texas.
RV snowbirds?
Exactly. Yeah. That's
Whoa,
exactly it.
yes. We're basically going to travel where it's warm. Yeah, like basically follow the warmth.
Yeah.
Not too hot, but like.
I mean, you could literally just put like Southern USA, pretty much.
Exactly.
You could just.
But my goal is, please, can we go to Yellowstone first? Please.
Maybe we might. We've got the freedom to.
Like now, like in a day.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's weird because like a lot of the places we want to explore are further north and big mountains and stuff, and like we are starting to go towards fall, so we'll see where the road takes us.
It says in Yellowstone and like out west that by October they could see their first snowfall, and that would be horrible because if we're not going to make it out there until mid-September, then we have to turn around and go to Florida.
No, see,
my
that's
mom's like, come to Florida.
I hear you. I hear you. I'm stuck here. Well, I'm not stuck here. I have a trip in September. I'm very much looking forward to. But like Florida is definitely hot all the time.
Think about how many cool places, though. If we end up all the way out in California, there's plenty of places in Southern California we could still explore. And then if you go across heading east, I mean, there are tons of cool places that we have yet to see. We've been in a lot of places in Arizona. We haven't really been that far south in Arizona. Yeah. And I know there's a lot of cool stuff.
And since watching Breaking Bad, I really want to go to New Mexico.
But avoid the cartel, of course.
Yeah, I don't know for this new adventure. We don't know how long this will last. We don't know if we're going to keep the RV for a couple months, a couple years, or for a lifetime. But we also don't know if we should plan this out, like we were talking. Should we have an idea of where we want to go, or should we just state to state to state wherever we feel? Like, I don't know. We haven't talked about this because we're so worried about selling everything, donating everything, that we haven't talked about where are we going to go on September 2nd, which is Jeremy's birthday. That's the goal.
Out the door. Out the door is where you're going to go.
That's the goal. Step by step.
And you think you're going to go across the state borders, like Mexico and Canada, or only in the U.S.?
I don't know if we're allowed to now.
Not yet. The U.S. borders to Canada is still closed, but at one point they could open.
Yeah, I mean, that would be really cool. Like, I haven't looked into that a lot. I would love to go into Canada again. That won't be this year because of
it'll be too cold at that
closed
point.
and two weather. But yeah, that'd be awesome.
Very cool. Well, I'm so excited to have you guys on again to talk about RV life, but all the tips you did for van life. If you guys haven't checked out their YouTube and their Instagram, go and follow them. Truly just an awesome story that you guys share. How else can people follow you? I know it's Quench Your Adventure on YouTube,
on everything,
Instagram, on everything, Facebook.
Yes.
And we're most on Instagram is where we are the most active. We're, posting stories daily, posting daily, and then we're really trying to ramp up the YouTube channel and just keep entertaining with video and stuff. So I mean, we're trying to post at least once a week on there. So yeah, we'd love for you guys to follow us and subscribe and all.
If you haven't followed or subscribed to Traveling Lucie,
yes,
you need to check her stuff out too, because she's got a cool goal and passion behind her stuff.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
I'm so glad that we were able to connect, and I love that we have that same vision and passion, and I'm so excited to see where you guys go and live vicariously through you in a van.
Even the good, even the bad, even the ugly.
The good, bad, the ugly.
I will show you the ugly.
I think the bad and the ugly really shape the good to be. It makes you appreciate it. I think that it's truly, like I said, I had some big hiccups in my Europe trip, but it ended up adding to my trip because I did something else that I wouldn't have slept in our car. But then I got the opportunity to experience that little hint of van life that I wasn't thinking of at the time.
Yeah, maybe Maybe you'll explore that idea a little more after our conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, guys. Well, do you have any last things that you want to share with everybody? Anybody? Everybody?
Go explore and smile more.
I was going to say that.
No way.
Oh my gosh, that was in my. I was going to say that. That's
really
Jeremy's graduation cap, and we just were talking about whether we should keep his graduation cap from UCF or sell it, or throw it away. Sorry.
We threw it away.
And the words he wrote on his graduation cap were "Go explore and smile more." And I was like, oh my gosh, I love that.
I love that.
Thank you.
My little catchphrase that I wrote on the John Lennon wall was we live, I'm messing it up now. We travel not to escape life but for life not to escape us.
There you go.
Bingo.
That's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got to keep
I'm
it
glad
going.
I didn't fully lose it right there.
It's
I love
okay.
that. Yeah.
It's my favorite quote. I forgot it. Oops.
Yeah, no, because I was like, I didn't want to say it the wrong way.
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's
thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much for coming on, and you guys will have to stay tuned. Subscribe to my channel, like me on Facebook, whatever. And you'll have to stay tuned for when I have them on for RV Life, and we'll talk in a few months about that and see how you guys are doing. If you're still in the RV or not.
Thank you. Yeah, we don't know. Thank you, Lucie. It was so good talking with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Good talking to you too. And everyone who is watching, thank you guys for watching. You guys, I do this Travel Tip Tuesday every week at 7 p.m. with a new guest, and we talk about the travel industry and we talk about what's going on with travel and a new topic every week. So make sure you guys just stay tuned, and thank you guys for watching, and thank you to Quench Your Adventure. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.